Respected colleagues, I remain Kafila Togbara from Koshofe Federal Constituency and from Lagos State, the Center of Excellence. I rise this morning for and on behalf of my people to second this motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Cap 812, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. Make provision for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Ise Ekiti State and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions. The fifth order of the day is a commencement of a debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, or sixth. Sorry, honorable colleagues. The sixth order of the day is a motion on reconsideration of outstanding bills from preceding assembly, standing in the name of Honorable Francis Waive. Honorable Waive is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Francis Ejirogane Waive is my name, and I represent the entire people of Ughelli North, Ughelli South, and Udu. I'm from Delta State. I rise to move for the reconsideration of outstanding bills from preceding assembly. One, closed-circuit television compulsory installment bill 2023 HB 177, National Institute of Black Water Fishes Research, Ango Andori Establishment Bill 2023 HB 178, Sea Fisheries Act Amendment Bill 2023 HB 179, River Niger Transit Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023 HB 180, South-South Development Commission Establishment Bill 2023 HB 181, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2023 HB 861, National Meteorological Training Institute, Shagamu, Ogun State, Establishment Bill 2023 HB 109, Federal Universities of Science and Technology, Remu, Ogun State, Establishment Bill 2023 HB 111, National Assembly Budget and Research Office Establishment Bill HB 600, National Film and Video Censors Board Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2023 HB 475, Food Vendors Registration Council of Nigeria Registration Establishment Bill 2023 HB 326, Pharmaceutical Technologists and Pharmaceutical Technicians Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023 HB 345, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2023 HB 957, and Federal University of Medicine and Health Science, BIDA, Niger State Establishment Bill 2023 HB 880. The House notes that pursuant to Order 12, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders of the House, bills passed by the preceding assembly and forwarded to the Senate for concurrence, for which no concurrence was made or navigated, or passed by the Senate and forwarded to the House, for which no concurrence was made, or which were passed by the National Assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the Assembly, the House may resolve that such bill, upon being regazetted and clean copies circulated, be reconsidered in the Committee of the Whole without being commenced de novo. Also notes that the aforementioned bills were passed by the preceding Assembly and forwarded to the President for assent, but for which assent or withholding thereof was not communicated before the end of the tenure of the last Assembly. Aware that the bills were read for the first time as HB 177, 178, 179, 180, 181, 861, 109, 111, 600, 475, 326, 345, 957, and 880 respectively. The House resolves to recommit the bills to the Committee of the Whole for reconsideration. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Ali JC. Honorable Ali JC, can you second? If not, because we are a leader, I would have asked you to mention the subject matter before, but I will be very merciful to just ask you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I remain Dr. Ali Issa JC, representing Balanga Plenary Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by our Chairman, Rules and Business, to reconsider the bills as moved. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. All bills are committed to the Committee of the Whole. The seventh order of the day is a motion on the need to investigate the abandonment of Shagamu Independent Power Project and restore electricity supply to Shagamu communities, standing in the name of Honorable Adewumi, Oriomi, Onanuga, Otumba. Honorable Onanuga is thereby invited to move. And Alaja, 6, Abi, not 5 even. And I hope she will present them in that sequence. Otherwise, we shouldn't support this motion.
Support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Highly respected colleagues, my name is Honorable Alaja Yeyoba Otumba Adewumi Oriyomi Ononuga. I represent the fabulously united people of Ikenne, Shagamu, Remo North. I am from Ogun State, and I stand to read a motion for the need to investigate.
Professor, are we okay? Manuzoro.
The need to investigate the abandoned Shagamu Independent Power Project and restore electricity supply to Shagamu communities. The House notes that in 2014, Honeywell Group and the United States Trade and Development Agency collaborated on a feasibility study for the Shagamu Independent Power Plant, which would be built in 2 parts, and for which they had signed an agreement in 2018 with plans to commence construction in 2020. The House also notes that phase 1 of the project was expected to deliver 250 megawatts of power to the grid using an open cycle gas-fired turbine, while phase 2 would ramp it to 400 megawatts by retrofitting it to a combined cycle power plant. The House further notes that the numerous industries such as Nestle, Unilever, Indorama, PZ, and Dangote Industries, among others, at Shagamu in Ogun State, provide job opportunities, boost local economies, and enhance industrialization, thus increasing Nigeria's GDP. The House is concerned that the Shagamu office of the transmission company has kept 260 MVA transmitters in its custody for over 12 years, which have not been installed, thus deliberately depriving the surrounding communities who have been without electricity supply for over 2 years. The House is informed that the Transmission Company of Nigeria insinuated that a 132 MVA transmitter was currently installed in the Shagamu area, but the area is currently experiencing a prolonged blackout. The House is cognizant that the Shagamu Agbara industrial complexes in Ogun State contribute 10% VAT annually to the federal government revenue coffers, ranking fourth after Lagos, Oyo, and Rivers states. The House is worried that the federal government is neglecting opportunities to provide stable electricity to a vital area despite its potential to boost revenue, increase production, and reduce costs, resulting in revenue loss and potential negative impacts on the local economy. The House resolves to mandate the Committee on Power to investigate the abandonment of the Shagamu IPP project and the withholding of 2 MVA transmitters by the Transmission Company of Nigeria. The House also resolves to investigate the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission and the Ibadan Distribution Company for denying communities in Shagamu stable and constant electricity for well over 2 years, and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action, and also mandate the Committees on Power and Legislative Compliance to ensure implementation and compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Pastor Ize.
Mr. Speaker, most revered colleagues, Eze Nwachukwu Eze is my name. I represent the good people of Ebonyi Ohuku Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm a High Chief. I hereby stand to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Power. The eighth order of the day is a motion on the need to investigate the state of refineries in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Martin Nwogu. Honorable Nwogu is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise this morning to raise a motion on the need to investigate the state of refineries in Nigeria. My name remains Honorable Attorney Matthew Nwogu. I represent the good people of Abombise Ngopala Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, the House knows that the state-owned refineries, the Warri, Kaduna, Alesha, Eleme, and Port Harcourt have stopped refining fuel and byproducts for local consumption for years. The House is aware that successive governments, under the pretext of turnaround maintenance and rehabilitation, invested money in these refineries, and presently none is producing fuel and other byproducts sufficient for local use, resulting in billions of naira spent on fuel importation. The House is also aware, Mr. Speaker, that succeeding ministers of petroleum resources and Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, executives have pitched several unsuccessful initiatives to revamp or rehabilitate the refineries, and despite huge funding, they remain in the state of comatose. The House is concerned that between 2010 to date, the government has allocated over 11.3 trillion naira for the renovation of refineries, yet these facilities remain idle. Mr. Speaker, the House is worried that money spent on turnaround maintenance of these refineries appear to be a waste because there is no corresponding value that these refineries add to the national economy, because till date, the country remains heavily reliant, the country still very heavily rely on importation of fuel to meet local consumption. The House is disturbed that over the past decade, an estimated 2,266,000,000 248,434 has been spent on rehabilitating Kaduna Refinery and petrochemical company in Nigeria, but they remain inactive and unproductive. The current situation necessitates an investigation into the contract awards for the rehabilitation of these refineries. The House therefore resolves and mandate the Committee on Petroleum Resources, midstream, there was a mistake on that paper, midstream, to conduct an investigation into the different contracts awarded between 2010 and to date on the rehabilitation of refineries in Nigeria. The reasons behind their inability to refine fuel and byproducts, and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable. Let us second first, and then I'll give you opportunity to amend. Honorable Professor Lillian.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Professor Lillian Orobu, I stand here this morning to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second. Meanwhile, I'm from Oka North and South Federal Constituency, Anambra. Thank you.
We thought you are not representing anywhere, so that we can put it on records. Professor, your colleague, the professor, can take over. Any amendment? Yes, Amobi. The born again Amobi. Maybe after Honorable Ali Jesse, he needs to tell you why within the last 2 weeks he's looking different.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My honorable colleagues, let me use this opportunity to thank everyone. This is my first time talking after my court judgment. A well-celebrated judgment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Honorable Amobi Godwin Oga. I represent Nigeria through the good people of Isukwato and Umunochi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I stand to amend the prayer that House Committee on Midstream should be included. It's not in the paper. It's not in the paper. It's not in the paper. Go ahead.
No, that she said that you only.
No.
I thought the mover has made that correction in his debate, right?
You can't amend on the fly, sir.
Well, it is not out of order since it is already printed.
Yes.
That is mentioning downstream, so it is not out of context for you to move.
Okay.
Any seconder to this?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Orobu, go ahead.
Thank you, His Excellency, Mr. Speaker, my leaders in the House, and my fellow colleagues. My name is Honorable Taufik Abimbola Ajile Soro, a member representing the Federal Constituency in Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the source. I stand to second the amendment as heavily moved by Honorable Oga. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Any more amendments?
Point of order.
Yes, Honorable. But before then, please, can Honorable Aminu Jemo remove that dark glass? You are making me very uncomfortable. Please.
Point of order.
Please, I beg you.
Point of order.
Yes, what's the point of order?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Mansour Manu Soro, member representing Darozogunjua Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, I came under Order 9 Rule 6. With your kind permission, may I read? It shall be out of order to attempt to reconsider any specific question upon which the House has come to a conclusion during the current session, except often a substantive motion for decision. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, this very topic of state of the refineries was thoroughly investigated by the Ninth Assembly. A report was adopted for party recommendations by this honorable House. I can remember.
When was it done?
Remember during the Ninth Assembly. I can remember the committee, the ad hoc committee that investigated this then was chaired by Honorable Ganiu Johnson. I believe by the time that we mandated our standing committees to start investigating this matter all over again, it portrays.
Can you be more specific? What time in the Ninth Assembly was this matter investigated?
Towards the tail end of the assembly.
Towards the end. Yes. And then there is also a report.
There was a report.
The report has been laid.
That was adopted by this assembly.
It has been adopted. Honorable Fullerton, can you be able to guide us on that?
Witness.
The report was laid and considered. We can invoke the relevant order of the House to reintroduce it, and we can consider the report at the 10th Assembly. Yes, Mr. Speaker.
So can we move for that?
Yeah, sure.
Or amend the prayers to reflect that particular thing? Because there is no point for us to spend taxpayers' money unnecessarily if this particular investigation has been carried out in recent time. Yes.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Francis Ejirogane Waiva is my name again. Ughelli North, Ughelli South, and Udu. What I recall with respect to my predecessor, there was an investigation into NNPC and the refineries and all that, which Honorable Ganiu Johnson shared, and the report was submitted. But this appeared to be specifically only for the refineries. That is why we listed it this time.
So are you suggesting that the other report did not capture the refineries comprehensively? No, we need to isolate it now.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Fullerton.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Waeve, are you?
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
So, who is raising a point of order?
Honorable Philip Agbese, sir.
Honorable, go ahead.
Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 8, Rule 5, personal explanation. Mr. Speaker, the issue before us today is akin to saying that if a man was found to be sick and taken to the hospital and treated, and the report was written by the doctor, and the sickness or ailment continued to...
Read order 5. Read your order first.
Yes.
What is the personal explanation?
That's what I'm explaining, sir.
Yes, Honorable, what are you saying?
Personal explanation.
He is already protected under point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
He has not landed. Please let him Finish.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the protection.
What were you saying under your point of order?
What I'm saying in essence is, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is true that the past assembly may have investigated the issue, but the element which is bedeviling the country today, if we are here on the basis of patriotism and to protect the interests of the Nigerian masses as captured in the legislative agenda of this assembly, then, Mr. Speaker, the motion move for investigation into the inability of the refineries to function is very, very important. And it is something that it will be patriotic for us in this house to look into. So I'm rising as personal explanation to say that because this thing has been investigated by the past assembly, the motion should be stepped down, should be overruled. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I want to point this honorable house to the issue of crude oil theft. When we resumed in this assembly, I moved the motion for the investigation of crude oil theft. Some persons equally raised the observation that crude oil theft was treated by the 9th Assembly. But the 10th Assembly has constituted a special panel, a special investigative committee to investigate the issue of crude oil theft, even though the 9th Assembly had dealt with that issue. This issue of refinery, as far as this country is concerned, is very, very important. It is genuine, and it is something I want to call on the 10th House of Representatives to look into. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable colleagues, please, after consultation, I want us to step down this bill to allow the business, rules and business to look to this motion to look at the investigation done between 2022 and 2023 on this subject matter and see whether we can adopt the report instead of starting a new, fresh investigation which will cost time and resources. If you are okay with that, we can step the bill and then revisit it at a later time. Thank you very much. So this bill is stepped down by the leave of the House. Honorable Bob,
Motion.
Honorable Sander has ruled you out of order.
Mr. Speaker, the motion stepped down.
So, honorable colleagues, we go to the next order of the day, which is a motion on the need to construct the second lane of Ngurure Bridge in Adamawa State, standing in the names of Honorable Kwamnoti Bitrus Laori and two other honorable members. Honorable Laori is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. I remain Kwamoti Bitrus Laori, representing Jamsa Numan Lamude Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion on the need to construct the second lane of Ngurore Bridge in Adamawa State. And in respect of this motion, there are co-sponsors of Honorable Kobis Ari Timnu, Honorable Abubakar Babazango, the Honorable...
Order, Honorable Martin. You are the monitor. Please ensure orderliness. There, okay? You are the new monitor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House notes that the Ngurore Bridge is a single-lane bridge built in the mid-70s on the Gombe-Yola Federal Highway, about 29 kilometers to Yola, the Adamawa State capital. Also note that the bridge connects Borno, Gombe, and Taraba states, serving as a vital link to Adamawa State capital for the commuters from various regions. The House is aware that the single-lane bridge has been operational for many decades, but due to growing human and vehicle population, heavy equipment usage, environmental factors, the bridge is experiencing wear and tear, necessitating maintenance. Also aware that without an alternative route for commuters, the required comprehensive maintenance of the bridge cannot be achieved without closing the bridge for weeks or months. Concern.
Honorable Amos, can you please find your seat?
Concerned that the overstretched bridge may suffer further damage or collapse due to excessive utilization by vehicles, heavy-duty machines, and equipment, potentially limiting its full lifespan. Observes that some times back, a military hardware truck accident caused a 6-hour gridlock on the bridge, leaving commuters stuck and frustrated. This is one of several incidents causing significant losses of businesses and livestock dealers commuting on that bridge. Worried that the bridge serves as a sole connection between the 9 local government areas of Adamawa State, connecting the southern senatorial district to the state capital. Patients with critical medical conditions from the Jamsanduma Lamude Federal Constituency seeking emergency medical attention in Yola often get stuck on the bridge for hours, leading to delays, complications, and a lack of access to hospital caused by absence of an alternative bridge lane. Disturbed that a delay in the construction of the second lane of the Ngurore Bridge could potentially cause disaster for people in Adamawa State, Northeast Nigeria, and those relying on the bridge for medical services, agricultural, transport, and other socio-economic pursuits. The House resolved, 1, to urge the Federal Ministry of Works to assess and include the construction of a bridge in Ngurore to serve as an alternative to the existing single-lane bridge. 2, to urge the Federal Road Maintenance Agency to regularly assess and maintain the single-lane Ngurore Bridge to ensure its safety and functionality. And 3, mandate the Committee on Works and Federal Road Maintenance Agency to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Sani?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, I am Sani Ibrahim Tanko, representing the very good people of Sheregiade, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Bauchi State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Work and Federal Roads Maintenance Agency. The 10th order of the day is a motion on reconnection of electricity supply to Shinkavi/Zurmi Federal Constituency of Zamfara State by the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company, standing in the name of Honorable Bello Hassan Shinkavi. Honorable Shinkavi is hereby invited to move the motion. Honorable Bob, did you seek for permission to move out?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, you are just taking...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is still remains.
Clark, take note. He said he is going to be back.
I represent the entire people of Shinkafi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Zamfara State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my motion before you is on the connection of electricity supply to Shinkafi Zurmi Federal Constituency of Zamfara State by the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House knows that the provision of roads, water, electricity, and other social economic activities are fundamental responsibilities of any government, being it at the local, state, or federal level. Also note that their responsibilities include education, security, and all physical infrastructure and facilities that must be available to all parts of the Federation to harness economic potentials and increase the prosperity of the people and that of the nation. The House is aware that the electricity transmission and distribution companies are expected to provide infrastructural facilities as well as integrate all parts of Nigeria, including Shinkafi and Zurmi Federal Constituency, to the national grid for an effective electricity supply network through functional substations, transformers, and other electrical appliances. Also observe that in the last 7 years, Mr. Speaker, in the last 7 years, the people of Shinkafi Federal Constituency have been off the national electricity grid and have not witnessed or experienced electricity supply, thereby living in perpetual darkness, discomfort, and lack of means to ease economic productivity. Also observe that the economic activities of the people, by extension, their livelihood and prosperity have been continuously hampered in the last 7 years, whose eventual impact is progressively pushing them down the poverty ladder. They are worried that due to the higher rate of insecurity in Zamfara State and Shinkafi Federal Constituency specifically, the absence of electricity supply from the national grid will continue to impact negatively on the social and economic lives of the people. Also concerned that the absence of electricity supply in the constituency alienated them, which made the people perceive that they have been neglected and marginalized by the federal government, thereby creating disillusion and restiveness among the people. These negate the principle of governance as enshrined in Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Prayers are, the House do resolve that to urge the Ministry of Power to direct the electricity transmission and distribution company responsible for Zamfara State to restore electricity in the constituency. And the second prayer is to mandate the Committee on Power to investigate the persistent absence of power supply and liaise with the appropriate ministries, departments, agencies, and regulatory authority to facilitate economic activities and improve the quality of livelihood of the people of the area. That is Shinkafi and Zurmi local government. I do submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Any seconder? Yes, Honorable. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My honorable colleagues, Honorable Dr. Wale Ahmed. I represent the good people of Agege Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Lagos State. I hereby second the motion moved by Honorable Hassan Shinkafi that Shinkafi Zurmi Federal Constituency should be reconnected to the electricity grid. I so second, sir.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Power for further legislative inputs. The 11th order of the day is a motion on the need to develop policies to boost production and exportation of yam in Benue State, standing in the names of Honorable Akume Regina and one other honorable member. Honorable Akume is hereby invited to move the motion. Honorable Maureen, good morning. Morning, Honorable Maureen and Miriam, the two M's. I say good morning to you. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Mrs. Regina Akume, representing the good people of Bokutaka constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Benue State, the food basket of Nigeria. I rise to move a motion on the need to formulate policies that will foster exportation and boost yam production in Benue State and other parts of Nigeria. The House notes that yam is one of the most widely consumed food crops in Nigeria and a major cash crop cultivated in Benue State and other parts of Nigeria. The House is aware that the producers of yam are highly reliant on its consumers due to the lack of proper storage system in place that guarantees the availability and freshness over a long period. Also aware that the exportation of yam is highly recommended to boost Nigeria's earning capacity, its external reserves, and its value chain. Unfortunately, exportation is not a thriving business option in Nigeria due to bottlenecks created by regulatory agencies. Worried that those engaged in the business of exportation do so outside the purview of the agencies responsible for promoting the trade by employing the services of local packaging producers or moving their operations to more business-friendly economies like Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Benin Republic. The House is worried that the Nigerian farmers are the primary suppliers of raw materials for the fresh yam produce in Ghana. The House resolved to urge the federal government to boost yam tubers production through the targeted incentives to the farmers from the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation, Bank of Nigeria, and commercial banks. Urge the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to carry out policies reviews to regulate and supervise agencies responsible for exportation in Nigeria to boost exportation, and mandate the Committee on Commerce to invite the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration Control, and National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and to give an update on promoting Nigeria's export business. Mr. Speaker, I so moved. Thank you. Chicken.
Any seconder? Honorable Oyibo?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity given to the only white man in this very assembly to speak. Mr. Speaker, my name is Alexander Mascot Ukweche, and I stand here to diligently represent the industrious, boisterous, gregarious, and dexterous people of Aba North and Aba South in this very assembly. Mr. Speaker, I stand to ably second the motion raised by Right Honorable Akume on the formulation of policies to intensify exportation in Benue State and Nigeria at large. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Commerce And coincidentally, that committee is being chaired by a Benue person. The 12th order of the day is a motion on the need to strengthen the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to enhance speedy response to emergencies and disaster occurrences in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Philip Abesi. Honorable Abesi is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much. The Right Honorable Speaker of the People's House, His Excellency, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, Yazazo. Distinguished Honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Chief Dr. Philip Agbese. I represent the good people of Ado, Okpoku, Ogbadigbo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to move a motion on the need to strengthen the National Emergency Management Agency to enhance speedy response to emergencies and disaster occurrences in Nigeria. The House notes that the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, was established to manage disasters in Nigeria. House also aware. House notes that the Act mandates the agency to coordinate and facilitate the provision of resources for disaster containment activities in response to distress calls. Aware that amongst other mandates, the National Emergency Management Agency is to formulate policies on activities related to disaster management and coordinate programs for efficient and effective response to disasters at the national level. Aware that beside the other sources of funds accrued to the National Emergency Management Agency, the agency received 20% of funds for ecological funds accounts, amounting to hundreds of billions of naira from its inception to date. Concerned about various complaints against NEMA by victims of disasters and stakeholders for its delayed and ineffective interventions, causing concern among stakeholders and victims of disasters. Also concerns that NEMA has consigned its function merely to providing relief materials and does not respond promptly to distress and disaster emergencies. Worried that if NEMA's current conduct is left unchecked, Nigerians will lose confidence, which will lead to its eventual transformation into a bureaucratic institution and a cash cow for unscrupulous individuals. Determined to strengthen NEMA to live up to the expectations of its Establishment Act, particularly in the area of prompt and proactive response to disaster emergencies and disaster calls, the House hereby resolves to 1. Mandate the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness to review of NEMA activities to conform with its mandate from inception to date. 2. Evaluate NEMA's disaster response capabilities in terms of personnel competencies and response and management infrastructures. 3. Determine if funds disbursed to NEMA are utilized in conformity with extra financial regulations and in tandem with the agency's mandate. And finally, to profile recommendations on how to improve the agency's efficiency and effectiveness and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Right Honorable Speaker, I so move. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Any seconder? Honorable Maureen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Gwacham Maureen Chinwe. I represent the good people of Oyiaya Melo Federal Constituency, Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by Okaga 1. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness. The 13th order of the day is a motion on the need to complete the construction of the Skill Acquisition Center at Iochan, Ibeno local government area of Akwa Ibom, standing in the name of Honorable Opolope Ete. Honorable Ete is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, my name is Ete Opolope.
Order, order, Honorable Fullerton.
The good people of Eke.
Honorable Fullerton, please. Orderliness from your side, please. Taura, what are you doing there? You are not a leader. Go back to your seat.
I am from Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Speaker. I rise this afternoon to move a motion on the need to complete the construction of the Skill Acquisition Center at Iwocha, Ibano local government area of Akwa Ibom State. The House notes that the contract for the construction of a Skill Acquisition Center in Iwocha, Ibano local government area of Akwa Ibom State, was awarded on March 15, 2010 by the Federal Minister of Niger Delta Affairs to Stages International Agency Nigeria Limited, Honorable Nigeria Limited, and YS Associates, respectively, concerned that the purpose for the construction of the Skill Acquisition Center is even more prevalent in the state today, particularly to curb evil vices of idleness in our teeming youth, seeing the present economic state of the country, even though the project contract was awarded in 2010. Also concerned that the project, which had reached about 85% completion 11 years ago, had to be abandoned due to an unexpected increase in the prices of goods, leaving the property vandalized and in deplorable condition. The House is informed that the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs has been approached severally by both the contractors and the indigents of the state to take the necessary action to ensure completion of the project, but to no avail. Prayers. The House do resolve to urge the Federal Minister of Niger Delta Affairs to ensure
any seconder, but you must be a strong man from Rivers to second this. This is a Niger Delta affair. So somebody has already identified himself. So go ahead. Not you, my ADC. You have a brother at the back who has already identified himself as the strongest among you. Did you come with your card?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the patience. My name is Honorable Felix Uchenweke. I represent the good people of Tai, Eleme, and Oyibo Federal Constituency. I'm from River State, sir. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague from Akwa Ibom State. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Niger Delta Ministry. The 14th order of the day is a motion on prevention and management of the devastating effect of flooding in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Sekav Zuam Yeotiom. Honorable Sekav is hereby invited to move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Sekav Zuayutiom, member representing the good people of Buruku Federal Constituency of Benue State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon to move a motion on the prevention and management of the devastating effects of flooding in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that flooding is a devastating natural disaster caused by heavy rainfall, river overflow, human activities like illegal structures and refuse, and periodic release of water from our field dams. Also note that in 2022, the federal government established a presidential committee to develop a comprehensive flood prevention plan, allocating 19.2 billion naira to mitigate the devastating impact of flooding on farmlands. Aware that in the same year, the Ministry of Water Resources released the General Flood Outlook report for the year, indicating that 3 local governments in 32 states and the Federal Capital Territory constitute the highly probable flood risk areas. 212 local government areas in 35 states of the Federation, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, were classified as the moderately probable flood risk areas, and the remainder of 329 local government areas comprises the probable flood risk areas. Also aware that in the same year, the Presidential Committee on Flood Relief and Rehabilitation, PCFRR, and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, partnered to distribute relief materials to flood victims across Nigeria, allocating 1.5 billion naira for the procurement and supplier of same. Recognizes that the flooding of towns and villages across the country was attributed to heavy rain and the impact of climate change, which deserve urgent, proper planning and proactive actions to prevent damages caused by flooding. Concerned that the prevalence of floods in Nigeria requires urgent attention, as delays could result in the destruction of houses and farms, food shortage, and humanitarian crisis. Mr. Speaker, the House resolved to 1, urge the federal government to expedite action on the prevention of flood disaster in Nigeria, intervening to provide relief to flood victims, monitor the management and prevention of flooding, and educate Nigerians on ways to prevent flooding. 2, also urge the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency, NIHSA, Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NEMET, Nigerian Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, National Inland Waters Authority, NEWA, National Space Research and Development Agency, NARSEDA, and other stakeholders to work in synergy on the best possible ways to alleviate flooding in Nigeria. 3, mandate the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness to investigate the distribution of food and non-food materials to affected citizens by the Presidential Committee on Flood Relief and Rehabilitation, PCFRR. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, also mandate the Committee on Water Resources to investigate the release of the 19.2 billion allocated for devastating impact of flooding on farmlands across the nation. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so Move.
Honorable Akala.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yazaza. I remain Olamiju Wonlo Ayodeji Alawakala, representing Nigerians from Ogbomoso North, South, Orire Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon to second the motion as moved by my honorable colleague, Mr. Speaker. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Emergency and Disaster Preparedness and Works. The 15th order of the day is a motion on the need for construction of pedestrian bridge in Kaga, Benishek local government area of Borno State, standing in the name of Honorable Usman Zanna. Honorable Zanna is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Honorable Usman Zanna, representing the good people of Kaga, Gubioma, Gumeri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Borno State. I rise this afternoon to present a motion on the need for the construction of a pedestrian bridge in Benishek, Kaga local government area of Borno State. The House knows that the Kaga local government area headquarters is along the Maiduguri-Kano Expressway. Also note that the realization of the Kano-Maiduguri Expressway divides Benishek town into two segments, making it difficult for pedestrians to cross the road safely. Worried that the lack of the bridge infrastructure in the community poses a significant risk to the residents of Kaga local government area, particularly Benishek, particularly to school children, elderly individuals, which equally hinder social, economic activities and social interaction in the area. Also worried that at the high rate of accident on the dualization expressway resulting in scores of days daily, cognizance of the need to construct a pedestrian bridge in Benishek, Kaga local government area to ease the movement of residents and facilitate transportation of goods and services in Kaga local government, Benishek. Resolved to urge the Federal Minister of Works to prioritize the construction of a pedestrian bridge on the dualized Maiduguri-Kano Expressway in Benishek town, Borno State, make budgetary provisions for the project in 2024 budget estimate. Mandate the Committee of Works and Appropriation to ensure compliance. I so move, my humble speaker.
Honorable Mepalas, if not for anything, I like your dress today. So at least you stand up for people to see you and appreciate your beautiful dress.
Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you.
Well, the members can see live.
Thank you, Zanzo, the People's Speaker. Kabiru Ahmad, my palace is my name. I represent the entire people of Gosos IB Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Zamfara State. I rise to second this motion, heavily moved by Honorable Zanna. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Works and Appropriation. Thank you. Yes.
Honorable colleagues, I'm sure the last order 15 of the House have been seconded, as moved by Honorable Zana. It's been seconded. So I put the question. It's been referred. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, the 16th order of the day is a motion on need to curb the excessive behavior of the officers of the FCT Directorate of Road Traffic Service on Abuja Major Highway, standing in the name of Honorable Eniton Akani Dolapo Badru. Honorable Badru is invited to move the motion. Honorable Badru, if you're in the House, please.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor, unfortunately, is not on seat at the moment. I move that the motion be stepped down. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Motion step down on the order of the House, on the leave of the House. Honorable colleagues, the 17th order of the day is a motion on call on the Central Bank of Nigeria to create awareness on the use of the redesigned Nigerian notes and the terminal date of the old Nigerian notes, standing in the name of Honorable Abdul Malik Abdul Rahim Danga. Honorable Danga is invited to move the motion if he's in the House.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Abdul Malik Abdul Rahim Danga. I represent the people of Adavi Okehi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I want to step down the motion because of the activities of the Central Bank in the recent days. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Motion step down on the leave of the House. Honorable colleagues, the 18th order of the day is a motion on the need to declare state of emergency on federal infrastructure in Basa, Dakina Federal Constituency of Kogi State, standing in the name of Honorable Haruna Paul Goan. Honorable Goan is invited to move the motion if you are in the House.
Right Honorable Speaker, my colleagues, my name is Honorable Paul Gowon Haruna. I represent the people of Basa, Dikina Federal Constituency.
Mr. Speaker, I am from Kogi State. I rise this day to move a motion on the need to declare state of emergency on federal infrastructure in Basa, Dikina Federal Constituency of Kogi State. The House notes that Dikina and Basa local government areas in Kogi State are significant economic centers with a large population and immense potential for growth, in their need of federal infrastructure to promote economic development and enhance the well-being of the people. Aware that the absence of adequate infrastructure in Dikina and Basa local government area hindered the growth and progress of the communities, thus disrupting economic activities and overall standard of living in Dikina and Basa local government areas. Also aware, Mr. Speaker, that the deficiency in federal infrastructure in Dikina Basa Federal Constituency hinders residents' access to basic social amenities and services, hindering their social economy development potential. Concerned that apart from the dilapidated federal roads passing through Dikina and Basa local government areas, which serve as major transportation routes connecting other parts of the country, there is no federal road infrastructure in Dikina and Basa local government areas of Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, informed that it is the responsibility of the legislature to address the developmental needs of constituents and foster equitable distribution of resources throughout the country. Cognizant that the establishment of federal infrastructure, such as roads, tertiary institutions, healthcare facilities, and electricity in Dikina and Basa local government areas will create employment opportunities, improve access to quality education and healthcare, and enhance the overall social economic development of the region. Resolved, Mr. Speaker, urge the federal government to declare a state of emergency on federal infrastructure in the Dikina-Basa federal constituency. Also urge the federal government to take immediate action in establishing the necessary infrastructure to meet the needs and aspirations of the people of the Dikina-Basa federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, the number 3rd resolve, there is a typographical error there. And I'm going to correct it by inserting education, health, and power to read like this. Further urge the Federal Ministry of Works, Education, Health, Power to make provision for the construction and maintenance of federal roads, establishment of federal tertiary institutions, healthcare facilities, and electricity in the 2024 budget estimate to address the region's existing infrastructural deficits. And finally, mandate the Committee on Appropriation, Education, Health, Power, and Works to ensure compliance. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to this motion? Yes, the gentleman down the road there. Not you, behind, yes. Behind you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving permission to second the motion. I remain Honorable Sabah Ahmed Adamu. I'm from Kwara State. I represent good people for tomorrow, Patigi Federal Constituency. I second the motion. Ably moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. It's an infrastructure motion, so I just put the question. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to Committee on Appropriation, Works, and Health. Honorable colleagues, the 19th order of the day is a motion on extension of rail lines to cover the South-South, Southeast, North Central, Northwest geopolitical zones of Nigeria. Standing in the name of Honorable Marcus Onobun, Honorable Onobun is invited to move the motion, if you're in the House.
Mr. Speaker, Marcus Onobu is my name. I represent the resplendent people of Esan West, Esan Central, and Igweben Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Edo State. I rise this morning to move a motion on the extension of rail line to cover the South-South, Southeast, North Central, and Northwest geopolitical zone. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that the rail transport offers a huge benefit to the socio-economic growth due to the capacity to convey large number of people and huge volume of goods from one place to the other. The House also aware that further to the blueprint that the 168-kilometer Abuja-Kaduna rail track was completed and put to use, and the 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan as well as the Warri-Ajakuta rail of 327 kilometers were completed. Also aware that Section 15(1)(a) of the Railway Corporation Act mandates the Nigeria Railway Corporation to carry out all expansion and extension thereof, and any new railway to provide all reasonable facilities for carriage by the corporation of passengers and goods.
concerned that as a result, the lack or non-provision of rail lines linking the south-south to the southeast and to the north-central and northwest geopolitical zone, transportation of huge volume of goods and passengers are hampered, creating avoidable and unnecessary pressure on the already failing road infrastructure with the attendant gridlock and waste of human and economic resources. Cognizance that the construction of the 269.12 kilometer Abuja Baro Itakpere with branch line to Jakura, Lokoja, and Agbaho Warri City will not only bring ease of movement to the people and goods, but it will also enhance the socio-economic growth of the country as a whole. Mr. Speaker, the House resolved to all the federal government to extend the rail line link to the south-south and the southeast, north-central, as well as the northwest geopolitical zone of Nigeria. And that two, mandate the Committee on Land Transport to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Thank you very much. Any seconder to this? Let me give it to Miriam.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Honorable Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I represent the people of Okigwe, Onuimo, Isialamba, North Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my very tenacious, brave, and lucky honorable colleague, Honorable Marcus Onoba. By the way, I thank God for your life. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Miriam. And thank you very much also, Honorable Onobum, for moving this. Amendments? Yes, Honorable Sada.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's an oversight on the part of the mover of this motion, forgetting the one of the most important corridors in transportation sector, particularly rail sector, northeast. If you look at the corridor of northeast has been cut off into this motion, and then transportation by rail within north central and northeast. If northwest, north central, northwest, if northeast is cut off, it will have a very serious impediment in achieving.
So you want to amend prayer 1?
So I want us to amend prayer 1 after north central, insert northeast.
Okay. I think it's a beautiful amendment. Any seconder to this? Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Silas Yusuf Majigiri. I represent Mashi Dusi Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Katsina State. I rise to second the amendment as moved by Honorable Sada Soli Jibia as so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this amendment say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of this motion as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to Committee on Land Transport. The 20th order of the day is consideration of 3 reports standing in the name of the House Leader. The Leader will move for their consideration. Leader, please move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable colleagues, Abdullah Ibrahim Halim is my name. I am from Kogi State and I represent the good people of Akwa Omalo Lamboro Federal Constituency. I hereby move for consideration of a bill for an act to establish the Agency for National Ethics and Values Compliance to control unethical behavior and enforce compliance with principles of the National Ethics and for related matters, HB 528. I so move.
Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, my name is Ali Hussain Madaki, and I represent the people of the Ala Federal Constituency. I stand to second the motion that Bill number 20 be considered. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
You have to be Bill HB 528, HB 312, and HB 313. I hope that's what you move.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Leader, please move that the House resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable colleagues, once again, Abdullah Ibrahim Halim is my name, from Kogi State, representing the good people of Ankpa, Omala Borough, Federal Constituency. I move that the House move to Committee of the Whole for consideration of these three reports. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Minority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker,
Acting,
my honorable
acting
colleagues.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, Aliyu Sani Madaki is my name, and I represent the Ala Federal constituency. I stand to second the motion as ably moved by the House Leader. I so second, Mr. Speaker, that we...
Thank you. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The House hereby resolved into Committee of the Whole. Thank you very much, honorable colleagues. The first bill to be considered is for an act to establish the Agency for National Ethics and Values Compliance to control unethical behavior and enforce compliance with principles of the national ethics and for related matters. I invite the leader to give the synopsis of the bill. Please make it 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. This bill for an act to establish the Agency for National Ethics and Values Compliance to control unethical behavior. Well, this bill is intended to control unethical behaviors and equally to enforce compliance with principles of national ethics. I urge all members to support the establishment of this act, and this will bring orderliness and good conduct to our society. Thank you, honorable member.
Thank you. That's a very straightforward bill. And
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I once again stand to second the motion that the bill be considered. I so do, Mr. Speaker.
Leader,
Number
please off your
20.
mic.
Number 20.
Yeah. The question is that clauses 1 to 20 be made part of the bill. So it's a bill for an act to establish the Agency for National Ethics and Values Compliance to control unethical behavior and enforce compliance with principles of the national ethics and for related matter HB 528. Clause 1, Clause 2, Clause 3, Clause 4, Clause 5, 6 to 10, 10 to 20.
Mr. Chairman.
Shadows.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just for the entire bill. Mr. Chairman, it's just secretariat to note, when they're cleaning the bill, they should remove the preponderance of the word act. It's not yet an act, so that when they communicate it, if they put act, they will return this bill. It's a bill. It's still a bill. There's a preponderance of the word act all over the bill.
Where are you referring to? I hope you're not referring to the long title, because the long title is in order. A bill for an act. is preparing is a bill that is migrating to become an act. Clause
Mr.
1.
Chairman, from clause 1 to
Yeah, I agree with
3.
you.
Yes.
I agree with you. It's not supposed to be there. Please, Secretary, take notes and amend it. It's not yet an act. It's a bill. So wherever act appears, please convert it to bill. Shadows. Long title. The second bill to be considered is for an act to amend the Civil Defense Corps Act 2007 to institutionalize collaboration between the corps and relevant security agencies to strengthen its complementary role in the maintenance of public law and order and for related matters. I invite the leader to give the synopsis of the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. Abdullah Ibrahim Ali, Halims is my name. I represent the good people of Ankpa, Omaloland, of Federal Constituency. I am from Kogi State. This second bill is...
Leader, I think it's very straightforward. I don't even need to give synopsis to save our time. Thank you, Leader. It's a very straight bill, and it's just one.
Let me say something. It's intended to, institutionalize professionalism in collaboration between corps and other relevant security agencies. And this is to strengthen the complementary role in the maintenance of public law and order. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. This is so the question is that the clauses be made part of the bill, and this is a bill for an act to amend the Civil Defense Corps Act 2007 to institutionalize collaboration between the corps and relevant security agencies to strengthen its complementary role in the maintenance of the public law and order and for related matters, HB 312. And we have only 3 clauses on this bill. So clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, explanatory memorandum, all right. Long title. Honorable colleagues, the third bill and the final one for today to be considered is for an act to amend the Nigerian Police Act 2020 to regulate the powers of the police to promote effective collaboration between the police and other security agencies and to provide for the operational framework for community policing in Nigeria and for related matters. I invite the leader to give the synopsis of this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, Abdullah Ibrahim Halims is my name. I'm from Kogi State, and I represent the good people of Ankpa, Omaloland, of Federal Constituency. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment to this bill, if achieved, it will surely regulate the power of the police to promote effective collaboration between the force and other security agencies, and to promote for the operational framework for community policing in Nigeria. I therefore urge all the honorable members to support wholly this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. The question is that clauses 1 to, I think it's 14, be made part of the bill.
Mr. Chairman, observation, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if you look at clause 4.
Clause 4?
Yes, clause 4 on the provisions of the bill, the recommendation that's on page 2, item number 3. Any person, that's on the fine, any person who contravenes the provisions of section 2 of this section commits an offense and shall be liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 2 million. I think, Mr. Chairman, if you look at the value of 2 million now, it's quite harsh. It's quite harsh. So I think we should look at how we can moderate the fine so that it will be in tandem with the economic pressure that we are facing in this country for contravening this section. Because I need to know.
You are referring to clause 4.
Yes, clause 4.
Okay, let's get to there. Let's get there.
Oh, okay. I thought we were
Yes.
there.
So clause 1, clause 2, clause 2, clause 2, clause 3. Maki, this is police. We should hear you. Clause 2. Maki, clause 2. Good. Clause 3. Now, clause 4 is where you have issue. Let's hear you.
That is this page 2, this column. Because I don't know the number in there. Yes. The 2 million fine, Mr. Chairman. Can the committee chairman inform us what was the previous fine, or there was no fine? That's on amendment on section 2. Section 2.
It's actually 2.
Yes, it's 2, Mr. Chairman.
On the amendment is 2-2. It's not 3.
Yes, so even the numbering is confusing, Mr. Chairman.
What?
That's it. So, Mr. Chairman, we are even trying to find out the offense.
The offense is the sharing of divulging of information to unauthorized person.
Yes. So
that is the offense in 2.
I think, Mr. Chairman, is a bit harsh. The 2 million naira.
If you are recognized, then you can talk. If you are not recognized, don't say anything. Let us, Kafila, let's hear from you.
Mr. Chairman, let me learn. I'm protecting Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you are protected.
Yes, I know it's not exceeding, but Mr. Chairman, we should not allow this discretion to our judges. We must not allow loopholes in our laws that it will be abused by our judiciary. You see, that is the role of the parliament, to tighten loopholes that laws will be abused in the future. If
what are you proposing? There must be a punitive measure for breaking such information.
Yes.
So what do you propose as a replacement?
Well, I think, Mr. Chairman, 500,000 naira.
5,000 naira.
500,000. Mr. Chairman, 2 million. 2 million in the present economy of Nigeria.
In law,
I know law is an ass, Mr. Chairman. That's why it's blindfolded. But then there is human aspect in law.
No, it should be a deterrent. When you know that there is a sword, that is, you are not recognized, leader, wait. It should be a deterrent when you know how much you are going to spend if you divulge information. You will not.
Mr. Chairman,
But 500,000 is what they can easily pay, and then they give the information out. And it also means that it could be lower than 2 million.
Well, it's left for the House to look at it, Mr. Chairman. I'm just throwing something for the House to...
All right. Yes, on this issue?
Yes.
Okay, leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues. You see, the limit of penalty is just 2 million. And it depends on the degree of the offense. There are information that could be very petty, and there are serious information that could attract this penalty, and even more. So I think we should leave it like this, so that since 2 million is the limit, is the height of it. That's my...
Okay, you know, this one is actually an academic exercise because we've already gone beyond 2, 3, we are in 4 now, so it has been carried effectively. That's what it means, right? Clause 5? On what? Clause 4. That wasn't clause 4, that was clause 2.
Clause 2. On the same fine of 2 million, if you recognize me.
Yes, say something.
Mr. Speaker, Chair, if you look at the prohibition, any person who contravenes the prohibition of section 2 of this section commits an offense, and it shall be liable on conviction. Okay, on the issue of the conviction, there is no limit of 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, whatever. So it is the prerogative of the judge to convict. Therefore, if it is his prerogative there, so the amount should equally be the prerogative of the judge. Or, we put in a time.
Okay,
that is a period.
All right, thank you. Can you read it downwards? You will see, to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 1 year, or both. Does that satisfy your curiosity? All right, thank you. So that particular place was well carried. Clause 5? Yes, on 5? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kabiru Amadou Palace is my name. I represent the entire people of Bosos Federal Constituency. I'm from Zamfara State. Mr. Chairman, I don't know the wisdom behind deleting Section 2. That's under Clause 5, Section 2, number 2, where a police officer may, of his authority, intervene to prevent an injury attempted to be committed in his presence or to any public property. So the new amendment is saying to delete the number 2. So I don't know whether the mover of this bill can be able to highlight the wisdom behind deleting this particular number 2.
Over to you, Maki. You are the chairman of the committee. Leader, you gave the synopsis of the bill. What is the reason behind removing police to prevent offenses and injury to public property? I think, in my wisdom, though that the committee is now here, I think in my wisdom, you want to say something, Maggie?
I think, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, I remain Abubakar Maki Eleman. Since already the mover of this motion is not on ground, we may step this down by the time that he came and shed more light to members, so that everybody will be carried along.
No. I don't think that should be an option. The abuse, I think what they are trying to cure here is to avoid abuse of, arresting someone and claiming that you suspected he was about committing a crime, not that the crime has been committed, and or going to somebody's property and maybe locking it up, claiming that you suspected criminal activities will be taking place there, to avoid such abuses. Thank you. Let me hear from Sada. We'll come back to you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, a number of our colleagues here, in fairness, they are not well informed about this bill. Mr. Chairman, this amendment was generated because of the out result of NSAS. So it is important, Mr. Chairman, if the person who chaired this committee is here to enlighten more members the rationale behind this amendment, so that we'll be well informed and we'll be able to argue from the informed position of those who deliberated on this. They must have engaged the stakeholders, aggregate opinions were gathered, and then presenting.
Approach the chair, committee chair, rules and business. Approach the chair.
If for any reason the chairman of the Police Affairs Committee expressed the fact that this thing should be stepped down, for information is given to the members so that informed decision is taken, I think it's not too late. Police Act is a very, very important act. It affects all of us. And those that will pay the brunt are our local people, not people in the urban area. So I think we should be circumspect in some of these things so that we are well informed, Mr. Chairman. I'm not averse to this Police Act, but
okay, if it's in the wisdom of the House to step it down, we'll step it down, and then bring it up maybe by next week. for proper clarification. Right? Bill is hereby stepped down on the leave of the House. But it should be noted that we did up to 5. We can continue from 5 later on. House Leader, please move that we revert to plenary.
I remain Honorable Abdullahi Ibrahim Alex from Kogi State, and I represent the good people of Ankara, Malalam, Federal Constituency. I hereby move that the House reverts to plenary for consideration of report. Thank you.
Leader, please second.
Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, I stand to second that the House do revert to plenary. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support that the House revert to plenary say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The House hereby reverts to plenary to consider. Thank you, honorable colleagues. The House in Committee of the Whole considered a report on a bill for an act to establish the Agency for National Ethics and Values Compliance to control unethical behavior and enforce compliance with principles of the national ethics and for related matters, and approve clauses 1 to 20, the schedules, and the long title of the bill. The House in Committee of the Whole considered the report on a bill for an act to amend the Civil Defense Corps Act 2007 to institutionalize collaborations between the Corps and relevant security agencies to strengthen its complementary role in the maintenance of public law and order and for related matters. Approve clauses 1 to 3, explanatory memorandum, and the long title. The House and Committee of the Whole considered a report on a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Act, Police Act 2020 to regulate the powers of the police to promote effective collaboration with the police and other security agencies and to provide for the operational framework for community policing in Nigeria and for related matter, and approve clauses 1 to 5 and deferred consideration for further legislative action. Please, Leader, move that we adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole as a working instrument of the House.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable colleague. I move that the House adopt the reports of the proceedings. Thank you.
Any seconder? Leader?
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, Aliyu Sanimadaki is my name, and I represent the Ala Federal Constituency of Kano State. I stand to second the motion as ably presented by the House Leader. I do second.
Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The report of the Committee of the Whole is hereby adopted as part of the working instruments of the House. Leader, please move that Bill HB 528 and Bill HB 312 be read for the third time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. Abdullah Ibrahim Halim is my name. I am from Kogi State. I represent the good people of Ankara, Malalam, Federal Constituency. I hereby move that the bill HB 528 and Bill number HB 312 be read second time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Third time.
Third time. Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, Aliyu Sanuma Daki is my name, and I represent the Ala Federal constituency. I stand to second the motion that bills HB 528 and HB 312 be read for the third time. I so second.
Those in support of this say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk, please.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish the Agency for National Ethics and Values Compliance to control on ethical behavior and enforce in compliance with principles of the national ethics and for related matters. Third reading. A bill for an act to amend the Civil Defense Corps Act 2007 to institutionalize collaboration between the Corps and relevant security agencies to strengthen its complementary role in the maintenance of public law and order and for related matters. Third reading.
Thank you very much. Leader, please move. I want to thank you for being here up to this time, and I'm praying that you have a lovely weekend. But before then, it's important to know that the bill has been read the third time and passed. I ask the Leader of the House to move for adjournment of this sitting till next week, same time on Tuesday,
Thank
11
you,
o'clock.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. While wishing you a beautiful weekend, I move that the House do adjourn to Tuesday, 28th day of November 2023 and to resume sitting by 11 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I stand to second the motion that the House do adjourn to Tuesday, 11 p.m. I so second.
Thank you very much. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Have a lovely weekend. The House is hereby adjourned to Tuesday next week, 11 a.m.